What is up, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Stage Break. We had some wet-ass racing this weekend. It was crazy. It was some of the most different stuff I've ever seen, and it was a great way to shake up the playoffs, and I can't wait to break down all the action that we saw. It was so fun. Gotta love road course. ROVAL has absolutely delivered every time they put on a race. I could watch those races day in and day out just to throw on the TV, watching them in the background. All those races are great. No matter if there's rain or there's dry, it just performs. I'm so glad that Charlotte Motor Speedway did this and decided to make this a tradition. I think it's so cool, and I would like it to be the only ROVAL that we get, but I mean, we'll see how NASCAR makes decisions in the future. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to start with the Xfinity race because, my God, that thing was insane. I swear, there was a caution 1 minute. Might have got up and went to the bathroom, went back and turned the TV on. It's a freaking monsoon on the racetrack, and they're out there racing. I see everybody spinning left and right. I'm like, what the hell is going on? What did I miss? And I never expected. I mean, there was that race at Mid-Ohio that was raining hard, and that was cool to watch. But this was a different type of raining hard. It felt, at Mid-Ohio, there's hills and valleys, and there might be much more runoff area for the water to go and just the grass or the dirt to the side, whereas a literal racetrack like Charlotte, everything's banked on the oval, so it's all going to come down the racetrack. I mean, in the Xfinity race, it doesn't matter where the water was. It was coming from the sky at rapid paces, and the drivers just had to deal with it, and it was one of the most interesting races I've ever seen. It was one of the most chaotic races I've ever seen, and it created much more unpredictability than any superspeedway could ever. You couldn't, because yes, super speedways are unpredictable when it comes to the winner and where the crash is going to be. Where this race is unpredictable is that is the leader or literally any driver on the field going to be able to make the next corner that they go to. There's never a scenario where that happens in a race other than what we just witnessed, and I don't want to see that all the time because I don't think that's fair to the drivers at all. That was probably an absolutely miserable experience. Like that, I assume racing the ROVAL is extremely hard in its own right, but you add some of the hardest rain that probably NASCAR has ever raced in, if not the hardest rain. That had to be. I got to go back and rewatch all the instances of NASCAR and rain and compare it to this because that was absolutely torrential. They were pushing water. Some of the one of the cars, I might have been Cindric or the 99, hit water on pit road, and it felt like a street car hitting a puddle on the side of the road, and you drag your car to the right. It was insane. It didn't look like race cars should have been there, but NASCAR managed it, and they finished the race in the dark when they said they weren't going to, but they said, fuck it, we're just going to finish the race, which props to them. I think you got to add lights to the infield, though, now since you've set that precedent, and I don't think that's impossible. And considering how well this one went, imagine a nighttime ROVAL race, like actually set up to be a night race. That would be awesome. And I think that would be a sick idea for the future to maybe mix it up in the playoffs because I think looking at the schedule next year, there's maybe less than 5 night races throughout the schedule, which kind of blows, but you like seeing some night racing, and AJ Allmendinger explaining it, and I wish NASCAR would take off the film of the cameras once and be like, hey, this is what it actually looks like outside, because, I mean, it was probably pitch black with barely any lights on the infield. I mean, you could kind of tell it was pretty dim in there, so all they could probably see behind were the red lights in front of them from the drivers, and it was a miracle that they finished that race. It was a cool experience to watch. I hope that AJ Allmendinger decides to make some cup starts, or a team gives him the opportunity to, because he is a guaranteed top 10. I mean, it felt like towards the latter end of his cup career, maybe before the Watkins-Glen win, after the Watkins-Glen win, he would seem to have some bad luck. He would maybe qualify on the pole for Sonoma or Watkins-Glen, but would never really be there at the end. You would have an issue or maybe try too hard, it seems like, trying to get to the front and maybe just overdrive a corner and get into something to get some damage and just set him back the entire race. But if you get that guy in a car at the ROVAL next year, I guarantee he's finishing in the top 5, or he's going to lead laps. He's going to be a factor, no doubt. So that is something that a team should be considering, and Steve Letarte put it great. If there's 4 superspeedway races and 6 road course races, that's 10 opportunities for AJ Allmendinger to win, where he's shown to be some of the most, probably the most competitive on both those types of tracks in the Xfinity Series, for sure, when he shows up. Whenever he's in a race, he is going to be a factor. He got his first oval win earlier this year, so he's showing types of skills that we have never seen from him before. and maybe it's a rejuvenation. I'm not saying, I don't even think he might want to go full time, but like he should be in those races. He is absolutely deserving to still be a part of NASCAR and to not be in those races and to be as good as he is at the super speedways and specifically the road courses is a shame, because he should be in those races. He should get the opportunity. I think he's shown he deserved the opportunity. And what the hell is the use of throwing? But you can't put him in like a Spire car or a. I mean, but Spire's finna be Colleague Racing probably, so you could actually if their team's competitive. But no promises for what that's going to look like next year. But if they're trying to go for 2 cars, you've got to assume one is, they got to be decent. They got to be a top 30 team. Because if not, you're just wasting your time and your money. But to get AJ in in the Richard Petty car, if they can't find a full-time guy and they try to do something funky like that would be, he could absolutely win some of those races. And that would actually be interesting to see a team. I feel like Eric Jones probably going to go there because he's the best free agent available, and I think if he wants to go to RPM and maybe, but who knows what that team's going to do next year. I mean, just Eric Jones getting tossed around like a brag doll, no goddamn reason. That guy is actually a good driver who deserves a real opportunity, and it's a shame he kind of got forced out, but inevitable. But if Christopher Bell doesn't work out and Eric Jones finds success somewhere else, then good for Eric Jones, and he won it. But yeah, AJ Allmendinger, man, needs to be in these cup races at these road courses. I want to see him at the Roval specifically, but a new one like COTA or, I mean, he's raced Road America in the Xfinity for sure, and probably IMSA. I'm not sure if he's ever raced at Circuit of the Americas. I'm not positive if IMSA, or he may have in some racing series. Who knows what he does? But I need to see him in a cup race next year. I want to see what he can do. It would be an exciting storyline, even just for one race. I think it'd be good for the sport to try to include him back. And I'm really looking forward to see if he can get those opportunities. I hope a team comes calling, man. And another wicked competitive car, second place finish in the Xfinity series was Noah Gragson. Again, got in his fair share of incidents during this race, probably doubled the season total just in this one. But I've started to kind of respect it because he is staying consistent with what he does. He's gonna be a pain in the ass when he's racing you, but he's a pain in the ass last week, and he's gonna be a pain in the ass next week. So you get no different from Noah Gragson, and he's competitive. He's fast, so he's putting pace up. Maybe you should try to be faster than him if you're in his way. You know, that's probably the mentality he carries, and I think it's putting him in positions to win races for sure and making enemies along the way. You know, that shit's gonna happen, and you can't blame him 100% for this race because no one could keep control, and I mean, any incident could be blamed as, I got in the rain, and I believe he did have an incident with Riley Herbst during the race, and they've had issues in the past, but I mean, what can you do when it is one of the most insane racing conditions that the NASCAR driver has ever been put through, and try to tell him that there's clear conditions that are causing problems, so you can't just throw it all on Noah for just being aggressive that race. But I mean, the aggressiveness he carried worked in the rain because he was absolutely the fastest car when it was the raining the hardest, which was strange. He prevails in the worst conditions. That's an interesting trait that I think Dale Jr. should be proud of, because that he showed that he is probably the best driver in the hard rain, and you have confidence maybe in that if he's in that situation again, we can expect some speed from Noah Gragson. So everyone remember that if we get a cup race in the rain in the future years on a road course, remember Noah Gragson was really fast at this race. Could pay off in the future, you never know. And the experience that it gains for this being the first time also that Cups have raced on wets, and they said maybe 50 years or whatever it was, but the first honest attempt at wet tires, I'd say for sure in the modern era. It sets up a lot for the future that if the Cup Series gets into a situation where it rains at a road course, that they can do this again. And if Noah Gragson is in the field and it sets up a crazy race like we saw Saturday, then get the wheels rolling, and he's going to have the wheels rolling and hopefully not spinning like he was a couple times during the race, even as the leader. I should have kept the tally of how many times the leader spun out. That would have been a fun one. We had Gragson, we had Allgaier was the leader, Justin Haley was the leader and might have spun or something. I don't know. It was a wild event. It was so fun to watch, though. It was one of the most interesting. Alex LeBay ended up having the most stage points. I wonder what the betting, if there even was a line for that. Someone would have made some money with, he had 17 or so stage points, and he was competitive the entire race. That was really cool. And the the bad conditions opens up more opportunities for the ringers of the field, and there are definitely much more ringers and honest ringers in the Xfinity Series, which I appreciate the hell out of so much, and they get real finishes. They finish in the top 10 for sure, like Jay Buford and El LeBay had a great finish. I want to say he finished top 5. He runs full-time, but he's going to perform on the road courses. I would consider Allmendinger an absolute ringer, ended up winning the race. It just opens up the opportunity for smaller teams that can have top 20 speed or so and take these drivers who are more experienced than anyone they've probably dealt with on a road course and take them to get some real money and some real sponsorship opportunities, saying, hey, we can finish in the top 10s, come sponsor us next road course we go to because we got this guy that can deliver for us. And it's interesting. It's creating new names, and even if you only see him 2 or 3 times a year for like 2 seasons, you're going to remember like, oh, remember that time Andy Lally had a great race at Mid-Ohio? Because I freaking do. Remember that time Alex LeBay almost won the ROVAL in the rain? I do. I need more of that in the Cup Series, but it's so expensive and no opportunities, and all the respectable and competitive teams have full-time drivers. So I hope that at least Allmendinger can make his way there, because if we lost Ambrose, we lost Montoya, Chase Elliott is becoming the guy, absolutely the man at road courses. He is unbeatable. It's showing. Literally 5 for 10. He has a 50% chance of winning every single road course race that he has been to. That is insane. Like, winning percentage for careers isn't like below 20. Maybe there's some insane numbers that are like above 20% winning percentage career-wise for some of the best drivers all time. Chase Elliott is winning 50% of the road course races he goes to. That's insane. And he didn't win the first like 4 of them, or it went like 0 for 5, 1 for 5 or something like that. So 5 of the last 6 I think he's won. That's stupid. That is stupid. And let me try to think of the one. It was probably Sonoma. He's never won at Sonoma. I can't think of who won the race. Probably Truex, if I had to guess, just off memory. But, man, that guy Chase Elliott is an absolute freaking beast. But I'll get to him later because I want to get through the Cup race first, and then we'll go through Chase Elliott and how insane that he is at turning right. But the Cup race, woke up that day, I'm like, oh, man, are we going to get anything like we did on Saturday? This race is going to be absurd. I don't know what to expect. But they started on wet tires. There wasn't really any future rain. It probably just rained during the morning hours and maybe sprinkled during the early bits of the race and created a damp track, which created interesting conditions. And that first stage was one of the most interesting stages I've ever watched from strategy standpoint, watching Ty Dillon go to the slicks and literally pass 23 cars in 5 laps to get to the lead and win that stage, which was really cool. And the going to the slicks and people pitting late opened up strategy for other teams to try to get stage points. Like Timmy Hill finished 5th in the first stage and then ended up finishing last in the race. But tell me, another betting line that would have literally won you billions of dollars if you said Timmy Hill was going to get any stage points at any time during the season, let alone on a road course. But crazy first stage, and it was fun to see. Like 16 different drivers got stage points. There was a bunch of different leaders that were not just like leading through. I mean, it was strategy, but at the same time, it wasn't like a pit cycle. It was people actually being out on track, leading multiple laps, and having to get past, like the William Byron and Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell had a great freaking day. I want to say he had the most stage points in the Cup race. Absolutely insane. The rookies all had special moments that day. Like John Hunter was getting extra sponsors from the infield. C. Bell had a great day. Custer finished in the top 10. I guess Custer had a nice streak of top 10s in the Xfinity Series on road courses. So that would have been a nice little stat for fantasy lineups and all that. Showing himself to maybe be a respectable road course driver. I got to look at his how he did at the Daytona road course and even back at those Xfinity days. But it was a fun day. Clint Bowyer is dangerous, I think. If I want Clint Bowyer to win one race the rest of the season, absolutely this weekend at Kansas, his home track, that would be the way for him to go out. He's won at Martinsville before. He has a potential chance there. Phoenix, I don't really know what Clint does have a reputation at Phoenix, but it's not so much for the racing, it's more for the fighting. But he is going to be fun to watch these last 4 weeks because he seems like he was having fun. He was truly one of the best cars on Sunday. And I think with knowing that these are his last 4 races full time at least, that he literally no pressure at all. He's satisfied with what he's done. He can just go out and enjoy these last 4 weekends, and I think this weekend is going to be the one he enjoys the most, and I really hope he pulls it together and gets a win. I think that would be the best possible story, but these playoff drivers are going to be something else, trying to beat the Hamlins and the Harvicks of the world, man. No one's going to beat them, and I'm pretty sure Denny won this race, the Kansas race earlier in the year. So if I had to predict a winner, I'm picking Harvick, because they tend to swap or go 1 for 1 when they go to a track twice. So I'm going to go for Harvick this weekend just based off that. But, man, the comers and goers was really cool. Bubba Wallace got some stage points. Eric Jones only got 1. Eric Jones had a top 3, I'm pretty sure. Joe Gibbs shows out on those road courses late in the race. I thought Truex might have been a bigger factor at the end of it. But, man, no one can beat that Chase Elliott guy. Chase Elliott is just an absolute beast at road course. And I think him being as good as he is makes the entire organization better. And for 6 road courses next year, you assume that they're going to have it for it. But I think that all 6 are going to come back for 2022, because I don't think they're going to do. I would be surprised if they got rid of them after 1 year. But you're setting all 3 of the drivers, not including Jimmy Johnson, he won't be there next year. All 3 of the drivers that are confirmed for Hendrick next year had a top 10 during the race. And again, some of the most difficult conditions. No one has raced on the wet, or I mean, there have been instances in the Xfinity Series where some of those drivers may have raced on wet tires, but in this scenario, on a track like that, to stay competitive, Byron led laps. Bowman was in the top 5 a lot of the race. They were truly competitive cars, and Hendrick, is being one of the strongest teams on road courses, is the way NASCAR is headed is absolutely great for the future of that team. And whoever they sign, I mean, Larson isn't the greatest road course racer, but I'm sure he'll get his shit together with how that team's going. Now, Jimmy finished like 13th, was in the top 10 for a little bit. I thought he was going to win. I want Jimmy to win the ROVAL so bad. That track owes him one. Maybe another time. Maybe if IndyCar decides to go there, maybe he'll run a doubleheader if that's a thing or whatever. But man, I thought that was Jimmy's day. I really did. I think probably would have rather raced in the dry. Definitely a different outcome, but man, I really hope he wins a race. Martinsville, if there was it would seem staged, but like I promise you, it's not. If he won Martinsville, but my God, I just want to see that man celebrate. I want to be able to like cheer. Like I don't remember the day of Dover 2017. Like I didn't think that'd be the last one, man. It's freaking terrible, and I just want to be able to celebrate. I want to see him. I want to see him celebrate like more than anything. I want to like him to be satisfied, bro, for all the like joy that he's brought in NASCAR forever, and the wins and the dominance and everything. Man, I just really want Jimmy Johnson to win a race. It would be absolutely incredible. It would make 2020 the best season. And what the fuck? 2020 so ass backwards. How hasn't Jimmy won like 7 races? What the hell? This is bullshit. He got damn COVID, missed the playoffs, shit year. And it's not even a shit year. It's probably Jimmy's best, felt like his best year since 2018, but like I don't really know if it is. It's probably a very similar stat line, but like he's felt like he's had true, at moments, winning speed this year, when 2019 and 2018 he really didn't. But there have been multiple races in 2020 where you said Jimmy Johnson could win this race. So I hope we get a little bit of that. And man, it just sucks. Just sucks so bad. Hope we get a little bit of that left in the remaining 4 races. But maybe he'll win an IndyCar race. Maybe he'll win in there. But I feel like he probably won't. So I pray Jimmy can get a NASCAR win. My God. And it was an elimination race this weekend for both series. For both series, the cutoff line wasn't really that close. It was probably around 20 points or more for both, or a little in the teens. But there were moments. Kyle Busch had a pretty competitive car. There were moments where he thought he might have won. He led some laps and then got that flat tire on that restart. Contact with Clint Bowyer set him back basically end of the day. Austin Dillon was having a respectable day, but nothing concerning to the other playoff drivers. And Boyer was the one that could have spoiled it all. Boyer finished in the top 10, was super competitive all day, definitely had one of the fastest cars throughout the middle stages of the race. He could have absolutely spoiled the party for a lot of playoff brackets, and I had him going to the round 8, but he was the one I had wrong. I had Bowman getting eliminated early, and he was the one mistake that I had on my playoff bracket that I made before the playoffs started. But man, the playoffs going forward, the initial prediction I had were Harvick, Hamlin, Truex, and Elliott for the final 4, and I'm going to stick with that. I'm confident with how my bracket's gone so far. I mean, low-key bullshitted it, kind of last second, didn't want to make any changes. I wanted to do it at the last moment, whatever my brain processed at the moment it was going to come out. And I like it's working so far. But looking at the tracks coming up, we got 2.5 miles, so I am trusting of Truex getting 2 decent finishes at least. Truex could even win this race coming up at Kansas. In the short track at Martinsville, we've seen Truex absolutely dominate in the past 2, so I think he has 3 good races coming up for him. Harvick and Hamlin are locks in my opinion. That has been known since they won probably their 4th and 5th races, that they were going to be in the final 4, so I don't think anything changes there. But Kurt Busch he's got 2.5 miles coming up. I think Kansas is more similar to Las Vegas than any track that remains. So if he can pull together some good finishes there, he's got to gain some points. So some big stage win would be huge if he figured out that during one of these races, specifically early if he tried to get some points at Kansas. I think this is a big weekend for the one team if they want to gain any traction and actually have a shot at the Final 4. They need to have a really, really good Kansas race. Same goes for Bowman, 18 back. I'm not sure if Bowman can actually do it. He had a really good shot at winning Kansas, I believe, last year. Finished second in that race, but I don't know. I've not seen Bowman shine on a Martinsville race, really, in my memory. Texas, he could have a good run. Hendrick normally tends to do well there. But, I think it's going to be a tough road for Bowman. Keselowski is plus 13 right now, and I don't have him making the next round. Although he could sneak out and win that Martinsville race, that one would be the one for him to win. I guarantee Brad is going to be below the cut line going into Martinsville and put him in a clutch position, which, he's done it before, and he's dominated a Martinsville race before. So Martinsville is going to be a really interesting race to watch. Logano -5 out. I just don't think it's been his year. If COVID never happened, maybe Joey Logano is the championship favorite right now. But not having won since probably February, early March, it has been a long, long time for that 22 team. So I don't see them advancing to the next round. But if they do make the Final 4, I think he's a sneaky pick for Phoenix. Logano could be a sneaky, sneaky championship pick if he makes it all the way there. Absolute upset winner. Chase Elliott +5 right now. With this win this weekend, I think that's the perfect confidence and role and momentum that he needs, even gain some more points with the 5 playoff points. And that's exactly what is putting him up above the cut line right now. Although, how many wins was Chase? This is Chase's 3rd win. So, yeah, I'm not sure how they would have judged because Logano, if Chase didn't win this weekend, Logano and Chase would both have 2 wins. So, that win this weekend puts him exactly into the position that he needs to be above the cut line, and I think he'll make it there. It's time for him. Chase had a great year last year. He's maturing, and being in this win, I think, is going to put him in a perfect position. I think he could have a really good race at Texas. Kansas, I know, will perform well, and Martinsville, I think, is an HMS factory of getting good finishes too. So I think we're going to see Chase Elliott in his first Final 4 appearance. And will he win the championship? I think it's going to take some other events for Chase to end up winning this championship. I think the 11 and the 4 are just too strong. It's going to come down to them on the final restart. I think all 4 of these guys are probably going to be in the top 4, but they're going to be on the front row, and it's going to be who wants it more. Man, Kansas, if I had to pick a winner for Kansas, I said Harvick. If I had to pick a winner for Texas, Austin Dillon won last time we were in Texas. Blaney had a good car, but Blaney chokes. I think it's going to be another playoff driver for sure. I'm going to go with You know? Okay. I'm going to go with Harvick at Kansas, Hamlin at Texas, Jimmy Johnson at Martinsville. Honest prediction. It's got to happen, right? It has to. And I'm going to live with that. I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to pick it until it doesn't happen. Now, I only have 4 more opportunities to pick them to win a race, so hey, why not pick them for Martinsville? It is going to be an interesting 4 races, man. The shit that Martinsville has produced in the playoffs. I hope it was at Chicagoland that Kenseth and Logano got into it. Oh, man, what if there's I want to fight. I want to fight to end the year. That would be crazy. Fight at Martinsville. No fight at Phoenix. Keep it classy, boys, but fight at Martinsville. It's a short track. You got that. This weekend set up a fantastic 4 weekends we got ahead of us. I'm super excited for the rest of the season. Last weekend was great. Can't wait for Kansas. We're going to have another Stage Break episode on Friday. It'll be out for sure. Make sure you follow Ben the NASCAR Guy on Twitter. If you don't, subscribe to the YouTube if you like the podcast. Let me know in the comments what you think, your thoughts on the race, your thoughts on who's going to win the championship. Let me know in the comments. Ben the NASCAR Guy out.